yes, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone, and well, thank you for having me here. It's always nicer to go in person to Lviv, but okay. Well, let's try the webinar version, the COVID version now. So I think Maria already introduced me a little bit. I'm run away from academia. I finished my PhD in 2014, and then I began working as a data scientist and switched. First, I started as an employee at a couple of companies here in Prague, in Czech Republic. Then I decided to go on my own as a data science freelancer in 2016. And I've always had a passion for teaching, and had the opportunity to be teaching at Ukrainian Catholic University in Lviv and other places since 2017 and earlier before in Mexico. So my talk is really going to be on two parts. Let's say three parts. First, I want to talk about how I came into freelance and what did I learn during let's say the first 2 years of my freelancing. I've been a data science freelancer for 3 years and a half. And I think the first 2 years were the roughest in terms of learning and trying to figure out how things worked. And the last year and a half has been a little bit better, actually much better. And that's what I want to share in the second part. So what did I do during the last year and a half that helped me really push forward my freelance consultancy? And finally, there will be a space for Q&A where we'll be happy to take any questions from you. So let me tell you a little bit first about how I got started. I was working at a consulting company in Prague. We had different projects around analytics, and I kind of it was 2016. It was the peak of the market in data science, and I always had this interest of being a little bit independent, try to do things my own way as much as I can. And I didn't feel that I was doing that so much in my job, so I thought that maybe I should, take some time to work on myself, since there's so much interest in data science right now. And I was very lucky. I quit my job. I announced that I was going freelance, and 2 weeks after I landed a client for a long-term project where my salary was 3 times my income as a freelancer was 3 times my salary. So I thought this is just going to be so easy. It's fantastic. I have all the freedom in the world. I have much more money, and this is just great. I even asked this client that I told them that I will not be full time. I just wanted to have one or 2 days off per week because I was, enjoying living the dream. Then I came out with a first lesson rather quickly, and that's what I call the finite capacity problem. You have within the day you have only 24 hours from which you have to sleep 8, and on the week you only have 7 days from which you rest more or less 2, and that's kind of as much as you can actually work. Downside of being a freelancer is that if you don't work, you don't get paid. So that is a very serious problem. I took a ski holiday in the middle of the project to Austria, and then I realized that well, I was on my ski holiday. I was not only spending money, I was also not earning money. And this became a problem that I wasn't counting on. I was, previously as an employee, you don't really care. If you take your holidays, you are still get paid whatever you're paid. And that's it. As a freelancer, that's not the case. Another downside was that I wanted to get more projects. I was kind of suspecting that it was not a good idea to have just one project, just one client for one company. So I took a smaller project for a startup besides my client, which was my major source of income. And I realized that the switching cost is very high. I was doing on my main job, let's say, more consultancy work around customer analytics, whereas on my second project, it was building a collaborative filtering system for a startup. So these are two quite different projects, and I had a problem for switching between those two. It was not so easy. And then I realized that, well, my time is limited and I don't really have enough capacity for both of them. There are solutions to this fact that you have just bounded capacity, and that is, well, you can always try to hire people, but that's not a direction I wanted to go into, or try to increase your rate up to the point where it doesn't really matter if you don't work that much. In my case, well, it didn't work quite well. I think I was already quite on a reasonable level for the market value. So those were not options to me. That was the first thing that shocked me, that I was not expecting, when I started freelancing, that the time could be a real obstacle. In retrospective, it's kind of silly, but this is how it happened. The next thing that I learned during this period was that it's not about me. So freelancing is never about you. It's about what you can do for your client. And there are, sorry. Sorry. Looks like you are seeing my screen. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes, it's okay. The slides are changing. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. The thing is that it's not about freelancing is not about what you want to do. It's about what you can do for the client. Okay. Slides are stuck. Okay. Give me a sec. Is it better now?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, but we still see your notes and, I mean, presented mode we see, not the...
Not the, okay.
Yes, but if it's fine for you.
Let me, Okay, now you should see the normal mode, yeah?
No, still that percentage mode. Slides are changing, but
But
Okay.
it seems to be fine. We can go with that. As we see current slides.
How about now? No?
You need to start to share screen.
I stopped sharing screen. Oh,
Yes.
God. Okay, better?
Yes, now it's good.
Now it's good? Okay. Sorry about that. Still struggling with this. So my second lesson as when I started freelancing was that it's not about what I wanted to do. I wanted to do machine learning. I wanted to work on cool projects. I wanted to do deep learning, whatever. But it really is about what the client you have needs, not about what you want to do. And here there are. From the point of view of the company you are working for or you are providing services to, there are really two reasons, two things they care about. They care about increasing the revenue somehow or reducing their cost. And they even have names for that. There's what's called profit centers and there's what's called the cost centers. As a freelancer, you want to be associated to a profit center as much as possible. That means that what you do, what you provide to the company will help them grow, will help them make more money somehow. Why is that? Because if you are associated to a cost center, then cost centers company wants to minimize those. And you will always find someone who is willing to work for a bit less money than you. Yeah, it's a race to the bottom, and probably some of you have worked in or look on some online marketplaces like Upwork or Freelancer or People Per Hour or websites like that. And then you're really racing to the bottom. For every project, there's always someone who is willing to bid your bid minus epsilon and try to win it. That's not a good strategy because you will put a lot of stress on yourself, and eventually you get to a point that you don't want, you cannot do it for less, right? Like you start to feel bad that your work is not valued. So I understood that it was not that I had to put my skills in a way that I could help the customer to achieve more in a and in that way the customer would help me to earn money, to develop myself, to go further. So that was something that I was not really expecting, that I found out. Another thing is putting your eggs on a basket. That was a bit of a surprise also. You really don't have time to allocate to a single project. If you allocate all your time to a project, then you're not really a freelancer. You don't really have a business. You're an employee, and you're an employee that has all the downsides, that you cannot take holidays, that you cannot apply for a mortgage maybe, or get some loan on the bank that easily. You need to be careful on how much time you allocate on the projects. Taking into account that there's a switching cost within, like when you have projects that are just so different. And besides the project work, you also need to keep trying to grow your business. So it is quite important to leave some time for both of them. So ideally, you would like to have the 2 projects that take you 2 days, more or less, per week, and you have still 1 day for trying to keep up with invoicing and booking flights or whatever admin stuff you need to do. It is really important to understand that you are a business. You are a company of one as a freelancer, but you are still a business, and you need to draw that line as much as you can. When I was trying to have more than one project with one of my clients, they came up with this phrase that, well, but you know, we are a family, so what do you mean you need time for other projects? We are you are part of the company. And I say, yeah, sorry, but I cannot be part of the company. I'm trying to be you know, my own business. And they were not too happy about that, and that kind of hurt the relationship a little bit. It is important to be clear from the beginning what the relationship is, and that's not always clear for everyone. So that's something that maybe cost me a good client relationship that it could have been saved. And this was because I was not kind of paying attention to how the client was seeing me. So after these 2 years, I started looking at, you know, I saw that it was better to try to be associated to a profit center, that it was not about what I wanted to do, it was about what the clients needed, and that I couldn't have like full allocation to a project because I wouldn't have leverage in case one of those projects went down, or I wouldn't have time to grow my business in other ways, for example, to keep learning things. So I needed to have some clear boundaries. So I started thinking, what could I offer as a data science freelancer, so that could help the client, could give me the freedom to go across different clients, and would have some clear boundaries. And I came across this concept after reading a little bit here and there, and at around the same time, which is the notion of productized consulting. And I think this really is the holy grail of freelancing in general, but in a very specific way of data science freelancing, because the data science projects tend to be like a little bit more complex, more there has to be some customization at every time, because even if you have an idea of what the features are, or how the models should look, how the performance of a model would be, you still need to make tweaks to adapt to the data, to the concrete use case, and so on. But you want to do it in a almost like production line. Like you need to have, you would like to have the service as streamlined as possible, and you can achieve that by making projects that were as similar as possible to each other. So that you can have a workflow that you can replicate, like a cookie cutter somehow, and like a template, like a blueprint for your projects that would let you get more work done without overhead. because you cannot treat. It is very hard to have two completely opposite research projects, data science projects. So you need to have a pipeline of those. And one way to do that is to kind of do data mining on yourself and try to look for what was working well in your projects, and then try to abstract out a product or a value proposition that you could replicate in other scenarios, in other clients. And talking to some friends that have been doing this business for much longer than me, I realized that actually they did have this laser focus on what they were offering, on what they wanted to do. One of them, for example, is a very successful NLP consultant. He does search. He worked in a search company for some time, which is not Google. There are at least other two. He worked in Cessna, and he was able to develop tools that could be applied in a number of search and information retrieval problems. So was using his own tooling to solve different problems on different industries, but always within the search domain. I came across also another guy who is doing customer segmentation. That's pretty much all he does. Takes a database of customers, transaction history, comes back with some segmentation model, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Non-data science related, perhaps, but also falling within this specialization. So another friend of mine who's an Odoo developer, that's all he does. That's all he's been doing for the past 8 years. And when people need some Odoo person, then that's the person they talk to, because he's so specialized that this is like the first word you associate with him. Other examples are technical trainers, people who do trainings on very specific subjects. I do some of that myself. When I first started, my website said something like, I offer analytics services for everything. And now in my website, I only have 4 courses of data science with Python, and that's all I'm doing right now, or like 80% of what I'm doing right now. These courses. So I narrow down what I was offering to try to make my life easier. Another example, also kind of more on the data engineering side. It's a classical example of database tuning. Optimizing queries, finding bottlenecks in queries. A Teradata license, for example, costs around 1 million euros per year on a mid-sized bank. So if they will pay you, I don't know, $10,000 for fixing their database over a weekend, then that's a rounding error for those kind of budgets. So people who are focused on this kind of problems can really generate good revenue and have a good career. So if you choose a niche, it's presumably because you like doing that, or you are good at doing that, and that will bring you satisfaction, and not only money, but also personally. So this is kind of what I learned within this within my first 2 years as a freelancer. That was somehow unexpected in some ways. And after I I took time to reflect on what had been happening, and during that time, I came across like some guidelines that could help my freelancing become more sustainable and enjoyable, instead of making this feast and famine cycle that freelancing is famous for. And not surprisingly, that first idea that was really important was to try to find a niche, to try to find a specialization on what you can offer, what you can do, to focus your efforts on that. And how do you find a niche? Well, that's not. It's simple but not easy. It takes some time when you think like, well, why do you like doing what people tell you that you're good at, and what people are willing to pay money for, because you need all those three conditions to happen, right? So you need to enjoy it. You need to get positive feedback and from the others, and that feedback has to be also quantifiable, because otherwise it's not a business. It's a hobby, and hobbies are fine, but if you're trying to be a freelancer, it's presumably because you need money. What happens when the intersection is empty? Then it's really necessary to get a job, to gather some experience for as many years as it takes. A lot of people want to take a boot camp in I don't know, development or data science or whatever, and then they want to run and be digital nomads or freelancers or around the world. That doesn't really work, I think, in a very high percentage of cases, because of what we spoke about before. You need to be able to provide value to someone, and if you don't know what the problems are, then you don't know how to solve those problems. So you need to go out there and spend some time on a job and try to get the experience or the understanding of what is going on in an industry that interests you. Find what the problems are, and then try to solve one of those problems. It's not a one-off task. Niche occupations dry out by competition or macroeconomic reasons, or maybe you got burnout, or maybe you change your interest. For example, for me, as much as I enjoy training and traveling across Europe to do technical trainings, now it's not possible because of the health contingency we are experiencing. So had a wave of cancellations. So maybe for me, it's also time to reevaluate my niche and try to come up with some new way of generating interest from the market. Another important point as well is you do need to find clients somehow, and there are different strategies for that. A lot of people have been very successful by trying to market themselves out there by open source projects, participating, contributing to open source projects, or creating their own. Blogs are also, they have worked for some people. It doesn't, I think I never did really blogging. I wrote a few articles on LinkedIn perhaps, but that's it. But some people have done quite well with high quality blogging, not this Titanic survival post kind of stuff, but more really well thought, well researched articles or personal projects. Teaching, speaking at meetups and conferences is always good. You get the chance to present to other people, to show your work to other people. But it is a very slow process in general. For instance, if you are maintaining you are thinking of creating some library or maintaining an open source project, well, that library needs to get popular. You would have support requests, and it will take you a lot of time. And it can pay off really well, but some people have been very successful to open source or following it, but it's a slow process in general. If one wants to find clients, then it's there's no substitute to going out and doing sales and networking, talking to people. Networking has this negative connotation of people and cheap drinks in a crowded restaurant, but it doesn't have to be like that. It's more about really connecting to people and being genuinely interested in what they do and how you could help them, if at all, or if you know someone who could help them. That creating and maintaining relationship is really important for the long game. And so it's not about just doing kind of random small talk, but really try to build relationships with people. A lot of freelancers like doing gathering with peers. I'm guilty of that. I love going to the machine learning meetups here in Prague or to the machine learning conferences. But you can imagine how many projects I've been able to sell from that. 0. Because they are your colleagues, right? So they're not buying from you. They're like you in many other cases, or maybe they have jobs or something, but they're not buyers. They're not going to hire you for your services. So you need to go there when the people who buys your projects or could be interested in what you do are, not where your friends are. If you look at some sales advice in online or wherever, a lot of people will swear for cold calling, like just call to a company or write someone through LinkedIn, generic email. There are tons of automation tools for doing that. So it's very tempting to send out an email to thousands of people telling you that you are offering machine learning services, you're creating great computer vision models or whatever it is that you do. But everyone hates those. So it's not, it could be counterproductive and could hurt your reputation more. But people do appreciate when they get some well thought out message that you send them directly because of something happened, or you heard something about their company and you are genuinely interested, and that's it. People like that, it's more about building relationships than spamming, than harassing people online. That's not going to take you really anywhere. Something strange that happens that I couldn't believe when I was first told that is that people would buy from you, would buy a service from you, even if they don't understand what it is, what you're doing. But if they like you, if they feel that they can trust you, they will be inclined to buy something from you, to buy a project, to buy some consultation, to buy some school, some training, whatever. It is important to be a likable human being and not being too salesy and too spammy. So that's from how you can get clients, but maybe not all of the clients are good clients at all. So that's you have to be a good offer, but you have to be careful of those clients that maybe are against your best interest. And one particular nasty type of client is the entrepreneurs that have an idea and they want you to code the platform and to do the model and to gather the data paralegally, and they will give you equity. So when the startup becomes a super hit, they will give you equity and you will be as famous as them. That's really risky. I always prefer cash on hand. When someone, especially an early stage startup, is offering you equity, what they are really offering you is to become their investor, and maybe you don't want to be an investor of a completely unproven business model. One way to get this situation under control is to offer feasibility studies so that you can take a look at the data. Sometimes you would be surprised that someone wants to have a machine learning project. That happened to me a couple of months ago. Someone wanted to have a deep learning system for audio detection to detect failures from cars, and they didn't have data. So like nothing at all. Not 10 samples, not 100 samples, 0 samples. So yeah, you need to have that part solved by having some paid feasibility study. Okay, give me the data. I will take a look. If there is, if your project would make sense a little bit, then we can move forward with an extension of the pilot phase, of that feasibility study phase. Another kind of projects, especially on big companies, are the impress the board of directors kind of projects that you just basically build a shiny toy for a company, and then the company doesn't really use it or need it or anything. Everyone claps on the meeting, they thank you, and you go out and you know that that code will never be touched, it will just remain there. You can make money out of that, and if that's your thing, okay, well, all the best for you. But I personally left with an empty feeling after one of those projects. So maybe there's something to think about, kind of red flags that should have for your clients. Ideal clients, well, there's no universal definition, I think. Your mileage might vary, but in my view, established companies that can pay on time are good clients, especially if they actually need the project and they are committed to see through the project. And sometimes those are not, big corporations are not the best, especially for development projects. They tend to overuse their size and pay you on 60 days later or not pay you at all, and threaten you with their lawyers if you want to go on litigation because they know that you're very small. They can be bad for development projects, but there are, if you are interested in training, I think there are good training clients. They have the budget, and if you are willing to dance the procurement dance, then it's okay. It's not a big problem. And well, finally, so if you have you found your niche, if you found what to do, what you're good at, and where you can provide value, if you have your clients, when there's time to profit, to keep and grow your business. It's important not to throw the money or raise your living standards too much. Usually, it's a good idea to have savings for at least 3 to 6 months, as well, the current situation is showing us you never know when things can go south, and when they go south, they can go really quickly. Stay healthy is important. I've known some freelancers that were doing quite well, and they quite enjoy the lifestyle and all the benefits, but then they broke their leg and they couldn't work for several months. Was not IT related. So then they burned their savings, and then they had to take a job because there was no. So it has its downsides. Just keep your savings. Try to keep yourself as healthy as possible, and keep increasing those savings. If possible, by try to generate passive income or different revenue streams through different service offerings. For example, if you are doing computer vision consulting, then maybe you can also do training. Maybe you can write an ebook. Maybe I don't know. You can write can make a SaaS product out of that. Something like that. And it is important to keep evolving, not to sit down and watch your sleep on your laurels. You have to keep evolving. You have to keep learning and watching the trends. What's other people doing? Where's the market moving? What's going on in the economy? How the concerns of your clients are changing. So if there's something you should watch out for. It's not about switching from every time a new technology comes, then you have to go and learning. There is a trade-off between learning things just in time, that you come that you get a project and now you start learning deep learning because now you won a computer vision project. Maybe it's a little bit late and you would have a hard time. But you cannot keep learning everything, because maybe one day, sometime, a project will come that will require this specific skill. I'm guilty of that. I've tried to learn, for example, D3 for visualization, which I've used in 0 projects exactly. So it's not good to rush into either extreme. And I think that's all for me. And we'd be happy to take some questions from you and to listen to you, to talk to you.
Pablo, you need to turn on Slido. I sent you link. You can also, yes, you can see link in the chat. Yes, it will be. And yes, and it will be good if you will still share screen and everyone will see questions.
Okay, all right. Yes. So let me share the screen. Okay, so is there some difference between companies? Yeah, a lot of. So for the first question, yes, it's a bit tricky because companies still very much regard the data as a business asset. So they don't want to have freelancers, having access to everything, because sometimes there's very important data. And they don't want that because there's a trade secret or something like that. So there are some companies, especially in the financial sector, that will tell you, no, you have to be full-time employee. Some others, I've noticed that marketing agencies, for example, are more open to have hire freelancers in general, probably because they're also used to work with a freelance designer, with a freelance web analytics people. So it depends. the vertical. So how can I mark them? Okay, I will up them myself so that we know where we are. Describe typical client. My typical client is a mid-sized company that is like around 50 employees or less. They have, they're really starting with analytics, and they want to have proof of concept in place. That's most of my like project-based clients. For training, my clients are usually bigger companies, like large global companies that want to have some specific training. So some training on machine learning using their own data set and for their own internal uses. How do I prefer to do freelancing? Working from home is terrible. I've done that for, I did that for 3 years, I think, and I tried also co-working spaces, and I'm not being very fond of those. Right now, I just decided to rent an office for myself. You need to have some quiet space, which is not always possible in working spaces. And also it's not possible from home, because my wife also works from home, so it's a little bit complicated when we are both there. If you deliver solution to client, yeah, oops. That really depends on what the agreement is. I usually have some limited time frame for the final acceptance phase. So let's say I offer, for example, okay, I do this analysis, this dashboard, and then you have a guarantee for 1 month or 2 months that you can come back to me if there's an issue and we change it. But it has to be about that, otherwise it's complicated. It can go on forever, and sometimes clients confuse bugs with new features. So when they say, "Can you fix something?" actually means that can you do also this for me? And yeah, then that's a different problem. In those cases, you can put on the contract something like any bug or extra feature within 1 to 2 months that takes less than 5 hours is free. Anything else will be charged at a rate of whatever. So that people will know. Estimate of time spent selling. Oh, that's a lot. That depends. Usually, maybe 1 or 2 hours per day if there is no project around, or if I have less than 50% busy. I usually have booked in advance, several months. If I see that in 2-3 months I have some space, I try to fill those up. If I know that I only have work for the next month, then I spend more time selling. So somewhere between 20% and 60% maybe at times. So is a profile portfolio website needed? That depends. If you want to work on the online marketplaces, yes, it's probably a good idea. You don't have to be very elaborated. I think most of the projects that have come to me have come despite my portfolio. my website is not great. It's important to have some kind of presence. I prefer to have, I'm more active on LinkedIn so that people can find me and can see what I'm interested in. But it's not absolutely necessary. Time trackers, I hate them. I don't like fighting for, hours or things like that. Usually in the contract, I define the minimum billable unit of half day, and that's because of the switching cost between projects. Let's say I have a project on text mining and a project on I don't know, customer analytics. Then you really cannot have 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there. It takes you some time to get into the flow and everything. So I don't like tracking the time. I rather tell, okay, so I will. I spent if I spend 3 hours, I will charge you the full day. If I spend the half day, for example, if the next day maybe I will spend 5 hours and then kind of tend to average out the differences so that I charge 2 half days instead of charging more. But yeah, no time trackers. How to keep fit her data science skills. Reading, so what's going on the newsletters. There are a lot of communities on Reddit, for example, or Hacker News that you can see what's going on. Keeping track with some newsletters. How do you find information about? Yeah, that's a good one. If it's not something that you can Google, obviously, then you have to. I sometimes ask to friends that are more familiar with the domain. For example, I recently had a project related to computer vision, which I'm not an expert and I'm not exactly sure what I took it, but anyway, so I had to consult with a friend who is directly with him, just ask someone. I would have taken something that I don't know anyone who is an expert in. Yeah, so that I always keep, sure that I have a friend at hand I can ask when things go wrong. Legal problems or problematic clients? Luckily, no. We had an episode with a client that they were not too happy about how things worked, but it didn't go further. So it is important to have insurance. For my practice, there are different insurance companies that offer services for IT professionals because things can go wrong. So imagine if you delete a production database or something because of access, or maybe you don't delete it, but the company would need a scapegoat, and you happen to be the freelancer, so you could be framed for that. So it's good to have a contract in place and then an insurance that you are somewhat protected. So how do you negotiate with a customer? Yeah, that's a good one. We set up. Data science is becoming more and more complicated. It's becoming more the job of a team, really. For simple prototypes, there's no need to worry about who is going to be doing data engineering, software engineering, etc. For bigger, more complex projects, you usually work with I usually work with other freelancers, and then we agree internally what would be the parts and communicate to a client. There's always some project manager on the client side in those cases, or at least that has been my experience. So this person on the client side knows who is responsible for what, and then they treat it accordingly. So you are kind of treated as an employee for the span of this project. That you can have clear division between the roles of the other people. And I think, yeah, typical client, I think we spoke about already. And yeah. Okay, so there are more questions or comments or? I think
no.
I think no. Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, thank you very much, and well, have a nice evening.
Before we complete a meeting, I want to make a few announcements. Just one moment, I will share my screen.
Yep.
Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So before we complete, if someone, if you're interested in analyzing data, and if you want to dream become a data scientist, we invite you to apply on our master program. And using this link, you can find the more detailed information. Also, this year we organized 2 summer schools, Lviv Data Science Summer School and Lviv Business Analytics Summer School. If you want to spend 2 funny weeks with us, we also invite you. Also, take into account COVID situation, we plan to go virtual, Lviv Data Science Summer School. We will update all the information in just, I don't know, maybe in 1-2 days. You already can register on this summer school. And also follow our Facebook. Yes. And we also plan a new webinar on the next week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you that you join us. Thank you, Pablo. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.